Hello there, and welcome to AC Spotlight. I'm Mike, and joined with me today is both Richard and Nymira, both GM and player of TheHereticsDTN. Pleasure to meet you folks.
Howdy, partner. How you doing?
Hello. Oh my god, sorry. Hello.
Pick up.
I'm sorry. Okay. Oh god, I lost the accent. Bless your heart. Hello there.
You know what's funny with voice acting is that you have to find that one line that you can always go back to. I think "bless your heart" was a real
heart.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart. Hello there.
That's really funny. That's something that not a lot of people get about voice acting, is that there is like that line you always have to pull from just to find that voice again.
Whenever I say "bless your heart," I always say it with a southern accent, so that's how I find it.
Right?
It's definitely with accents for me. The Russian accent: vodka, 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 vodka. Hello, how are you doing today? There's that. There's for the Romanian accent I do for Strahd, it's I most of the time I've been doing it long enough now that I just can. But what I would try and do is I would go hello. And I'm still in the Russian, huh? Hello, how are you doing today? And,
there you go.
The hello, because whenever I was actually researching them, it was hard to get a proper accent because I learned they were relatively a mix. Romanians will probably hate me for saying this, but based on geography, they were a mix of German and Russian in accent. There's a little differences around there, but that was the best way I could actually match it.
Well, what an intro. Hi, everyone, and welcome to AC Spotlight. Richard and Nymira, it's really wonderful to have you here. I'm really excited because you guys have been putting on a production for your own actual play channel, and I would love to get to know more about it. Do you mind expanding a little further on what the Heretics DTN is?
I will take this question because I am very excited. Okay, so my name is Nymira. I am typically considered the lore master of our channel. I'm very good at world building and writing. I'm a creative writer myself. And the Heretics DTN is a channel where we do both D&D content and Let's Play content. Whenever we don't have enough D&D players, we oftentimes do something that some of our channel members call co-op slop, where we play like Gone Fishing, Are We There Yet? Stuff like that, where it's like very centered on the group aspect and sometimes has very goofy mechanics, but that just kind of leans into our humor. We do often do horror games as well, because a lot of us are very into that kind of thing, but most of the time it's very group central. We rarely do stuff solo.
I love that. That's a fun, interesting concept. And actually, full disclosure, I think you're the first actual channel I've spoken with in which both members were present for the interview. And I think it's a very great testimony that you guys are kind of like, all the content you make, there is sort of always a collaborative aspect of it. There are multiple people always in sort of one video able to bounce off each other, which is always more engaging and a little bit more exciting to watch as a viewer.
Something that we also plan on doing is, well, right now the main party consists of a few streamers, creators, all of that. Most of them are creative writers, artists, all of that. And so we focus on actually just building the world around their players and their players integrating them further and further into the world. Something I want to do is connect all of the campaigns we do as a group in D&D as into one world. So everything that happens affects the other campaigns in the future. But for the future of the channel, something that we plan on trying to do is eventually her and the other players will be trained into DMs of other systems. So we won't just do D&D. It will probably be alternating of the days of the week. We would have like D&D, Pathfinder, Warhammer, Utopia. Shout out to him. He actually is one of the reasons that our channel got such a big spike. We streamed his stuff while it was still in its beta stuff. So that is Ordont, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So we're kind of getting a little bit of a peek on terms of what the future holds for the Heretics DTN. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, spreading out to other systems, that itself can bring new life and new stories that can't just be told with D&D.
We talked about doing the Lord of the Rings campaign. In the D&D system, there is an official Lord of the Rings campaign, and I am self-ascribed to be one of the biggest Lord of the Rings fans possible. I read the books once a year. I have watched the Lord of the Rings movies and the appendices so many times I can quote most of them.
She's watched the appendices
over 200 times.
Oh my god.
Yeah. You have no idea how much of she is so in depth in the lore. And so when seeing that pop up, I was like, I would love to DM that campaign, but that would be a great way to teach her how to DM is with something she's very comfortable with the lore and everything of.
Well, speaking of, I have a bit of a question because I know that, Richard, you are the GM currently, and obviously we hope to expand that as we continue on. But I have an understanding on how you got Namira into your party. There was a significant other, the sort of a girlfriend boyfriend experience. But for the rest of your players and party, how did you find your other players?
Through high school. Believe it or not, most all of us, except for a few, were in a big friend group in high school. In fact, actually, one of our players was the Gunther, is what he'd be called on the channel, or Q. He is one of the reasons that we play D&D. So Gunther and Oberonson, you may hear those names a few times on our videos. Those are the two, veteran player and was a starting DM whenever we did our first, me and her were actually in it, our first campaign as players.
Funnily enough, it was Curse of Strahd.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, classic.
And so our first on the channel was Curse of Strahd. 1 by vote, but 2, it kind of felt fitting for us.
Yeah, it's almost like a rite of passage for most channels and parties. It's like we have to experience Strahd. Have to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them did come from previous friend groups, but one player, Andrea, actually was a coworker from my current job. That I was like, you seem like my kind of nerd. You want to join our D&D? Because I saw she'll die that I mentioned this, but I saw her writing fan fiction while we were at our job. So I was like, oh yeah,
hey,
come play D&D with us.
Andrea, sometimes inspiration strikes us at any moment in time, and so you just have to write it down.
Because I've noticed, because I do this a lot too, that fan fiction oftentimes leads to good roleplay because you're able to so clearly put yourself into the world. Because when you're writing fan fiction, you have to write through the perspective of multiple characters. So when you're doing roleplay in a group setting, you have to understand how your words are affecting the other player characters.
That's actually interesting, sort of bringing this content and putting it out to the internet for others to sort of ingest. That leads me to sort of a question about the Heretics. Was this channel always intended to be an actual play channel, or did it evolve from like a home game?
So, it was originally, we started streaming this, and it was originally meant to be just D&D. It actually evolved from like D&D Warhammer, like that was part of the original plan, was doing multiple things, but it's evolved since then, and it actually evolved into having a Let's Play channel instead aspect to it, to where we would just play different content, all of that, and just have fun. But that, whenever a major change happens to the channel or I'm left to a decision, most of the time I ask all of my players. I don't ask just the founders or anything like that. I mean, we all decide on what the options are, but then I will also ask all of the viewers what they would rather between the options. And so it's evolved since then, but I would say yes, it started as an action play channel. But originally how we had started doing all of our stuff and as a party, it had started at home before we ever started deciding to put anything on the screen.
There's this interesting dynamic when it comes to actual play channels and just making content in general. Is there's obviously the love of what you're currently putting on screen, which is for you guys, video games, co-op experiences, horror games, as well as tabletop role-playing games. I can understand that from, just by meeting you guys, that there's sort of this love of role play and sort of storytelling. But when you when you start to add this extra layer of putting it out on the internet, having it published, edited, streamed, whatever it may be, there has to be sort of this desire of creation, especially digital creation. So it leads me to my question was there always an interest in content creation beyond sort of making this actual play channel, or did it start to blossom because you started to make the channel itself?
So for me, I've done a few different channels in the past. I've helped others as well. My original personal channel was Steak Max. I made it I think up to 20 followers. And at the time that wasn't a lot, especially on Twitch. You needed 50 to be able to start making anything or be profitable, and my channel had relatively died. A lot of my friends, Unlocked Metal, which is one of our players, is also a channel creator. I think he has 26 followers, or it was either that or 28.
Around 30.
But he streams on Twitch. He mostly streams COD and other first-person shooter games. But he became one of our players mostly because I knew he already knew a lot of the stuff, and I asked him to join. Diggy, one of our co-founders, he was he's an artist, so he does a lot of the art projects behind this channel whenever able. And I remember we started throwing around this idea of this channel originally to start up what was The Heretics. It went through a bunch of different things. Originally, the first thought before we even started it was podcast.
Yeah.
We were going to just do podcast content. And so it's going to be the late night podcast with on Diggy Max, because I'm Steak Max, he's Diggy. It would fit well, and it was going to be we would just talk with friends, have late night conversations, because most of the time our filters disappear and we have the goofiest conversations, the most fun there, just being 100% ourselves, even on camera. That is still a potential to happen on this channel in the future, but more of a structured content that we had decided on was doing something like D&D, since we loved creating just characters, stories, worlds, anything like that, art for it, just making things. We even, it was, I think that's just been in us since the very beginning, because hell, we went to a school where it was just creation.
We went to a self-ascribed nerd high school.
Yeah. It was a magnet school for engineering.
Okay, yeah. No, I went to a technical school. I got that. Birds of a feather. We're all there in one space.
Oh yeah.
And then I think for you, Nairi, you were. I mean, we've kind of discussed this before the recording, but you yourself have sort of a history in creation as well through sort of art, because you were a singer, or you are a singer.
Oh yeah. I am, and I was and still am a singer. I joined my church choir when I was in 3rd grade, and I continued that all the way until I graduated high school. It's one of my main passions. I love it so much, and it kind of naturally led into me writing, because I was ooh, I could sing this. Ooh, writing's actually really interesting. What can I create? And then it naturally led to me reading a whole bunch and being inspired by these worlds like Percy Jackson and Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, and all that stuff just led me to be I can do this too. I can make my own world. And that kind of naturally led me to D&D, especially since he was in the campaign and I just wanted to hang out with him more. So I was like, ooh, what's this? And I was like, oh wait, that I don't have to roleplay on just Discord. Fun.
Have you ever DM'd?
Space. I have not, but I'm interested in it mostly because for the most part, I have a little bit less confidence in myself and my worlds than he does. He is like confidence supreme. We make jokes about it all the time, that his confidence will get him anywhere. I have been building my confidence over the years, so I am very interested in DMing. It's just not something that I want to do at the moment.
In fact, this is relatively a rare sight for our channel. Most of the time, people don't see our faces. We use PNG tubers for the most part.
Hey, there we go. Hey,
I am one of the only extroverts in the group. Not everyone wants their face to be shown on screen. Some don't care. But one of the things that we started to do was just consistency. So it was like, okay, instead of having some webcams, some VTubers, I was just like, we'll all do PNG tubers. And the way I did it is to figure out what theirs would be is I put their characters as their PNG tuber.
Right. Yeah, it's all about branding at a certain point. There has to be this extra layer of knowing about production and building something from the ground up that you have to be like, all right, we got to be consistent. Let's make everything the same.
I'm the one who's done a lot of the marketing, the research for all of that, and I've pretty much become the producer of our channel. All of the players, because I can do it all myself, that ruins the fun and ruins the magic. So all of the players actually all help with the writing. I ask them what they want to do, how they want to do it, and then I do my best to integrate it into that world. Sometimes this means that there's changes to some of their characters that they may not like at first, but I've actually been told by the end, they're like, I'm glad you made me do that change. One of our players wanted to revive one of his old ones. And so instead of, he was like, I just want to play that character again. And I'm like, no, I want it to be the future of that character. So something that's happened since then, or something that was a product of that last campaign he was in. And so he's a Loop-Garo lycanthrope, which if you don't know what that is, the Loop-Garo is a much worse version of the curse. You actually have to kill the original one that cursed you, and then you can cure it. Otherwise, it's uncurable.
Already, I can already tell the GM mind of storytelling is like starting to turn at a high degree, which is actually an interesting concept of, for you, Richard, did you graduate from the player seat, or were you just thrusted into the GM?
Believe it or not, yes, I graduated. So, Curse of Strahd was my first and only player campaign.
Oh, no! Well, it happens to all of us, you know? All of us GMs, forever GMs, we understand it. We get that little taste, and we're like, great, we'll do it ourselves now.
I originally, so after that, I decided to host a campaign because, one, I was very interested. I've always been a world builder. I've always been a creator. I mean, hell, my favorite games was like Minecraft. I would do, what was it?
You really liked Baldur's Gate.
I liked Baldur's Gate, but I would do Minecraft. I would do Terraria. I would do all of the stuff where you just got to create and build the world.
We call it autism maxing because he always used the create mod, and his brain works in ways that confuse us.
I like
because
Factorio.
He's able to make these really cool machines in Minecraft, and I'm just like, but how?
In real life, my class would be an artificer. That's all I've got to say.
It feels like it. I'm starting to get the vibes, 100%.
I'm a multi-class of rogue artificer. This front is artificer. Unfortunately, I'm a passive rogue. I walk around and I'll go, hey, what's up? And people go, what the hell? I'm like, I'm not even trying to walk around quiet.
I talk about that about my SO, and that is I say you need to wear a bell because I don't know where you're like a cat's bell or something because I don't know where you're coming from.
Them?
I don't know. Yeah, like you need to walk around just like
Nikki,
every time I hear the jingle, I'm like, I knew it. Come on. I think that I might be a betting man here, but when it comes to building an actual play, and because there is this layer of you need to entertain the party, and then you need to also entertain the audience. There's sort of this extra layer of sort of thought process you have to go through. With that in mind, most of the GMs I've met who make actual plays, this is where I say I'm a betting man. When it comes to rules, most of them we've kind of confirmed that they are rules of cool rather than rules of written. And I'm a betting man to assume that you're sitting in that same camp of rules of cool.
Yep. For me, I'm rule of cool, but so what mine is I do as long as it's based within logic and reasoning. So if you can explain it to me within your own magical system or how it make sense to me, pretty much, I'm okay with it. But I also say, but if you can do it, so can the enemies.
I like that. That leads me to my question with the idea of flexibility when it comes to storytelling, to make sure that there is sort of this entertainment for both the enjoyment for both the players and for the audience. Is there a rule that is currently in your table that is written in stone?
I would say, again, pretty much if you can do it, so can the enemies. Along with, if I help y'all get y'all's characters into more powerful stuff, this means I don't necessarily have to hold back. I do brutal.
That is one thing
your
that
consequences
we will forever complain about.
Are hard. Something like for instance, while Andrea and Nymeria both got into this RP that they were having with each other, I made it unbearably clear Strahd was there. Andrea was a servant of Strahd. She's actually the vampire of the group. She's the Dhampir of the group.
Oh, Dhampir.
And the vampire was sent there to kill the party originally, but somehow through Barovian magic, which will be if you watch our channel, will be explained. She had kind of set that vampire relatively free from Strahd's control. And so they decided to make a deal to pretty much kill Strahd. And to just undermine him, whatever. I made it abundantly clear that Strahd was there watching. They still roleplayed it and made that deal, which nearly killed the vampire.
We were very into the roleplay. We were so immersed in our own world that his words kind of went.
Sometimes you were in the scene, you know? Sometimes you can't get out of it.
And we were enjoying it so much that by the end of it, when he did Strahd screamed traitor in Andrea's mind, and then the connection was essentially broken, and she took like 8d8 of psychic damage.
8d8? No. She took 88.
Oh my god.
Psychic damage. Because I rolled a d100 and I got 88, and I had been saving that the entire session. Just like I even told them, look, if you betray, I gave them the warning of, if you betray, you are taking this much damage. I've rolled it out. I have it set off to the side. This is what will happen if you are not careful with your words. Mind you, she only had like 90 hit points. It was like 94.
Now, Nymeria, that was his answer in terms of his stone written, his rule written in stone, which is essentially equal exchange. You know, so you do something, I get to do something else. Is there a rule written stone that you've noticed that he has implemented that he has not talked about?
Honestly, not really. There haven't been too many like extra house rules that we've added, simply because several of our players are quite new to D&D and their mechanics, like especially Andrea. This is Andrea's first campaign. She had never experienced D&D before this, so we really want to make sure that she understands how to play the game and stuff like that before we add any more like especially harsh house rules. And like, because she knows how to roleplay and she knows how to world build, so we just need to teach her the mechanics of the game.
That's fair. And I mean, with the new player also involved in sort of this actual play, is there any safety tools that you guys utilize that is like very important at the table?
So for my brutality, in a sense, normally with the players who have played with me before or are very used to D&D in general, I follow chess rules. Whenever you set it down, that choice is made. That choice is set in stone. That you cannot change that. But for the new ones, since they're still learning, I tell them what the consequences are. But if they want to change it, I will allow them to change it while they're learning.
That's good. Sort of this
Now
flexibility.
there is some instances, like for instance, when Andrea did make that mistake, it brought her down to like I think she had 94 because I think it was like she was brought down to 6 HP.
Yeah.
And then they were both dropped into a place that it was already a deadly encounter at 3 enemies. They were fighting 10. But 3 what was it? Lost Sorrowsworn? If you're familiar with those, brutal.
Difficult fight. Awful. It was just the 2 of us.
For a little bit of the other stuff that I do is to encourage viewership from my players, even if they just have their channel open on their phone and just do this. They get points on the channel that allows them to buy upgrades. Viewers can also buy upgrades for them. So rules that are kind of homebrew different is there's health potions. They can buy regular, greater, superior, and there's another one.
I don't remember the 4th kind. But the amount of greater healing potions that I bought in that session so that Andrea didn't die, I bought like 10 through that point system. And I just kept saying a health potion appears in your inventory.
Another thing that I do is I try and encourage playing your character, not fearing losing it. And so, well, yes, your consequences have actions, and that will always be the case.
Other way around.
Or actions have consequences. Wow.
Hey, it's early in the morning, all right? We all get a little bit of gas.
I'm drinking my energy drink here.
There you go.
So
Something.
Your actions have consequences. Well, yes, that is the case. I still tried to do the stuff like while Rule of Cool is there. Like, for instance, while they were 2 players out of our 6-player party, which 3 was already deadly for a 6-player party, it was just 2 players alone. I allowed them to do some of their abilities that only have so many charges. I said, ignore the charges. You get to do it as many times as you want. And to me, that allowed them to give them one more of an upstep, because I don't want to just be completely unfair and ruin it for them. And as much as they were so upset being screwed over, they're like, I don't like this. At the end, they were like, okay, you know what? That was fun. That was epic. It's more of, in the moment, they're like, I don't want to lose my player. And I'm like, I promise you will not be losing it unless you actually do something that is like, why did you do that?
Unless we do something catastrophically stupid, we weren't gonna lose our characters.
There has to be a laid out consequence, something large enough that would warrant it, something understood. Because I think that is very important when it comes to, and it's a good lesson to teach new GMs of, especially if you were making an actual play, there is this layer of entertainment that has to go into it, which means you can't just make a meat grinder and all of a sudden the story is sort of slopped out. There has to be an understood layer of consequence for something as dramatic as sort of losing a PC. And I think there are other very well-known GMs that kind of follow this rule, like, okay, you lost your character. Do you want to continue playing as them, meaning that we have to find a way to revive them, or there has to be like a quest for that? Or are you done? Are we retiring the character? Are we having sort of a nice moment? We let them be, and we bring you back in as someone else.
Yeah. So one of the home rules that I've seen and I've thought about actually doing, which is called heroic actions. What it is instead of whenever you go down, instead of rolling death saves, you can choose to fail all 3 instantly. But what that does is that means everything, all of your charges, you go back up to max HP for this turn. You gain all of your actions back, all of that. And you just get up and you fight. And that is like, you make your last moment count.
Yeah.
That is something I've seen. There's been other stuff where it's like I've thought of if the party fails, something I could do is go into. There's this campaign setting called Crooked Moon by Legends of Avantaris. They have a lot of stuff that I've been looking at, and a lot of our characters would transition very well into that setting. In fact, one of our players, once I got that setting, I did change his race because his was kind of an in-between state of like being a werewolf but not. We already talked about him. And originally was a mini Goliath. So he was 5'9" Goliath.
Hold on. A mini Goliath. You mean a tall guy?
No,
he's not even the tallest party member.
5'9".
He's
Okay,
not
so a
even
guy.
the tallest party member.
So
yeah,
he's
just
a guy.
But
Just a
with
guy.
gray skin and red stripes.
He's just a guy.
Just a
But,
guy who has some
the
choices. You know, bod mods. You know, sometimes that's a thing.
Picking up the other stuff that fit better for his character, we changed his race to a Curseborn, which is pretty much a born werewolf.
Now we're fitting it in. Now it's starting to feel good. You know.
But he still has the texture of a mini Goliath. And that's because that's what his original character was. Was a mini Goliath, was it Bartificer? And he was a soldier Bartificer. So, well, a lot has changed for his character because it's now in canon, after we've started developing the story better, I think he's over 400 years old.
Around
He is
that,
classified as undead.
Ooh, boy.
I'm gonna be so honest. Most all of our characters are very old. My character and then the wizard are the two youngest players, and we're in our 20s. The other characters are like 400 years old, 1,000 years old.
1,000? One's 4,000. What do you mean?
I forgot how old our warlock is. His age has changed a little bit.
In fact, actually, his is probably the most complex. I would call it DM training.
Right.
Because he has 11 different personalities in his character.
It's a choice. That's
Oh, he certainly gave himself a hard time. It's just the thing with his character, it's explained through our session. So if you really want to know more about his character, highly recommend you tune in to our session today, because
Actually, yeah.
one of the personalities that we haven't seen before will actually be played by him, because the character who Diggy, who plays this Kenku warlock, it's actually his anniversary with his partner today, so he will be doing anniversary things, and our DM will be playing his character.
Hey, for those watching that means on Tuesdays, because this is pre-recorded. Will probably come out on another day.
So Tuesdays at it's what?
From 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. CST, and then we also stream our Let's Play content on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. CST.
Well, before we get to sort of the full plug thing, something that's very interesting that I like to pick brains when it comes to content creators such as yourselves is because there is this idea that you are making something for an audience to ingest and enjoy. There's such wild, varied answers I've gotten so far. But to your opinion, what is the perfect session length?
Ooh.
So, okay. As much as I would like to say what we normally do, which is 5 hours, originally that plan was going to be a 4-hour session and then an hour break intermission.
Okay.
But we all have ADHD and that never happened. But while I would like to say that, because originally the way that we would play is a 4-hour session each. Most of the time, if you get any shorter, not much gets done, especially with ADHD and D. But whenever it comes to actually uploading the content, I've been trying to work with Diggy as the editor, but due to his own life stuff that's been happening, his ability to work on stuff has been going down. And so I'm probably later, as much as I would love to do it now, get an editor. because I would like to change our full 5-hour content episodes into 30-minute bite-sized episodes.
Oh wow.
I don't think we're gonna be able to shorten it down that much.
No, he was able to do that.
Oh.
But it's each 5-hour episode could probably make up like 2 episodes.
So edited version, the ideal stream for me, because I'm a massive D20 fan, is like 2 hours worth of content.
Yeah,
That's
like a movie
ideal.
length. You know, you're ready to sit down and watch.
Yeah. Because like oftentimes I'll have like campaigns playing in the background when I'm doing like work or I'm doing like dishes and stuff like that, and I just like having people talk in my head.
And that's one of the reasons why I've been uploading all of the VODs, all the recording footage onto YouTube and all of that. So that way, yes, eventually I will start loading up edited content. Just having the full length for people to listen to in the background, or for my players to go, all right, I didn't take good notes last session. Let's see what happened. Because we've had arguments happen where they're like, no, I didn't say that. And I go, okay, hold on, let me bring out the recording. And I have gone, no, here's your exact words, word for word. You said that.
I could definitely see the benefit for both. And I don't think that question really has a right answer. I think that's a really interesting question itself, because I agree with Namir. There is this experience with a 2-hour kind of block that you can kind of sit down and really ingest. But I see your point as well, Richard. That is a great thing to have like on a walk. You know, you have something while you're working that's going on for you need something to really kind of take your attention for a solid amount of time. And I think that's really interesting. A 30-minute cut, I would be interested. I haven't seen that yet, so I can't really speak on how that experience would go. So that's really, really cool.
The reason why I say 30-minute cuts, 30, 40, maybe even 50, depending what it is. But what it's supposed to more represent is a lot of our empty space, talking, all of that gets edited out. And it becomes more just the story, and that's it. So it's meant to be more like a show rather than in a sense, let's play of Curse of Strahd, or just us having our own campaign. Instead of that, it is literally just the story of our characters, for the most part, edited down to that raw thing. It seems like there was no discussions between each action, all of that. And so that's kind of the idea of the very, very edited down. It's kind of like a show, kind of like the Critical Role for the Mighty Nine, the what was the Vox Machina? Thank you, stuff like that. That's kind of what I'm hoping those would be like, rather than just our full unedited session, or even just cut down enough to where it looks nicer. Both of those contents all 3 of them, I feel like are very valuable to the channel as a whole, and just would be valuable to different types of people wanting different things out of it. The reason why the 30-minute bite-size episode thing was discussed is because my dad and some of his friends, who are, graying, probably from stress of me, but, they said that, they love the idea of the content. They can't, and even some of the DMs that are of my dad's friends and stuff like that, they're like, sitting through hours of content, if you're not actually in it, can be very rough.
Yeah.
And so while having it in the background, stuff like that, listening to it is fine. For them to want to actually get engaged in everything, 30-minute bite-size episodes will be better.
No, that's 100% fair. Yeah, I would love to see that being pulled off. I think that'd be very interesting to see. But for those who are interested in terms of catching you guys, I want to first thank you both, Namira, Richard, for really joining me today. And not only for sharing your story with me, but also sharing your adventures with the entirety of the internet. Do you mind telling people where they can find the Heretics DTN?
So we're mostly on Twitch, but you can check out Twitch. YouTube are the ones that you'll find are links to our card, which you will find all of our personal channels along with all of the other ones. So it goes Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and then I think that's it for our social medias. Other than we have a Buy Me a Coffee, which in there I say buy us a mini. And then other than that,
It's pretty much those four.
Yeah.
The Twitch and YouTube is our long form unedited content. The Instagram and TikTok is for like little clips of like our Let's Plays or our D&D content. Sometimes I will post like little synopsises of the characters that we're playing and like, could you beat them with your OC and stuff like that. Because I was seeing a lot of that on TikTok, so I was like, ooh, let's introduce our characters to the world.
Nice.
The way that TikTok was meant to be was a lot of just our content as much as possible, while Insta was supposed to also show a little bit more of the personal side of us as well. So, like whenever we would go to events and stuff like that, or just we even posted memorials about the family members that we have lost in the past. On like Day of the Dead.
Very cool. Well, for those who are looking for some constant stream of entertainment from you guys, both D&D and video games, and from, like you mentioned now, some behind-the-scenes experience with the social aspect, please go give them the follow, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye!
Bye!